What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans? Sonoy Valenta here once again with the Mean Green Show. Today, joined by Reed Smith, and we're going to dive into the latest news in today's North Texas football world and Var'Keyes Gumms, as well as the recruiting front. Before we get into all that, guys, you already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football or G5 football, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, because that is truly all that we talk about. All right, Reed. Well, hey, I appreciate your time coming on. I know you've been busy writing all day long. You've had zero lack of content to have to cover today. So again, really appreciate it. And guys, if you haven't already, be sure to go check out. I'm going to leave the link to the article that Reed wrote on this in the description on this video, but it's tremendous work. It goes way more into the weeds than what we'll go on here. But again, talking about Var'Keyes Gumms as well as the recruiting front. So really, really be sure to check that out. Not all schools have a 24/7 guy, so we're very lucky to have Reed. So we always want to show the support when we can. But anyway, Reed, real quick before we get into it, man, I mean, how has today been for you?
Oh, man, it's been busy. So, I first of all, appreciate me being back on here. I think it's the second time. But, yeah, it's been busy nonstop with the softball, basketball, and then Var'Keyes news.
Yeah, seriously. Kind of jumping into the Var'Keyes news. So really, I mean, he was on here. It wasn't that long ago, like I think it was 5 days ago. And it was, really myself and all the other North Texas fans really excited for the production he's already produced for North Texas and the anticipated production in the new offense under Coach Morris. So really kind of came out of left field as far as the timing of his entering the portal. And of course, us North Texas fans were on the message boards thinking of is this NIL tampering? Is he going to OU? Did he not like maybe how he would fit in this? Who knows? I mean, it's just pure speculation at this point. But man, what are your thoughts on the timing of the transfer? And are you hearing anything of what might have led to it, or do you have any speculation of your own?
Well, it's all speculation at this point. I myself haven't gotten the chance to go out to spring camp yet. Should be up there on Saturday, but at this point, it's pure speculation. It's one of those things where he may have gotten into spring camp, not liked what he's seen so far, and exiting it. Could just be that he wanted to change the scenery. I mean, similar to with Jake Roberts, there's always a kind of, I feel like, a grass is greener type of mentality, and especially now with the transfer portal in college football. And Var'Keyes had more production than Jake Roberts last season. So, you see a guy like that, your teammate that you shared starts with, go off to a Power 5 school, and not just any Power 5 school, a Big 12 school in Baylor, then I would imagine that would influence some sort of decision. But of course, it's all speculation at this point.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, maybe it's just false hope, but you never know. I mean, maybe he could come back, and we saw that happen with KD, but this situation might be a little bit different, but we'll see how it all plays out nevertheless. But kind of moving over to the recruiting front. So when Coach Morris, got hired, he said his staff is going to be recruiters, and it seems like he's backed that statement up with his hires and how they've been producing on the recruiting front thus far. And currently got 2 commits verbally committed for the 24 class, and Luke Carter, tied in out of Katy, Texas, and as well as today, Brandon Jones, the highly coveted linebacker out of South Oak Cliff. But Luke Carter is probably one of those guys that will get a lot more offers as his senior season approaches and starts. And I imagine he'll probably get some Power 5s if I had to guess. I think he has a Tulane offer on his timeline on 24/7. It shows he has one. So if you factor in beating out Tulane, that's pretty impressive. And then jumping into Brandon Jones, I mean, you said it pre-tape. Would you say top 28 guy or something like that?
28, Dallas Morning News top 50. So this is a standout, and that was his junior year.
Yeah. That's wild. And I know a lot of the coaches are talking about staying close to home, and so he's got all the Power 5 offers. I mean, it's a long list. Go check it on 24/7. But one offer that intrigues me is he does have the SMU offer. So that's even closer to home. So I'm really intrigued on how they won this recruiting battle. I know it's just verbal right now, so we'll see how they can hold on to this. But I guess kind of looking at the glass offers, and recruiting is a sport. I'm not saying this to, downplay anyway, but Dylan Brown Turner, when we had him, he got the Power 5 kind of later in Florida State, and this guy already has a long list of Power 5. So I don't know, kind of gives maybe a little more reason to believe like he's more likely to stick to the verbal commitment. But I mean, what are your thoughts on the recruiting front thus far?
Well, just to go in a little bit more on Brandon Jones, I mean, I think that his early commitment can be completely attributed to the fact that Keith Smith and Taylor Starling signed on National Signing Day. I mean, both of it are his teammates, or were his teammates at South Oak Cliff, and they're back-to-back titles. And that's a big deal. And kind of UNT, I mentioned it in my story, but UNT has kind of established a pipeline there at South Oak Cliff, which is really important because a lot of those guys kind of go under the radar. I don't think Brandon would have been one of those guys, but especially if he puts up the numbers he did again in his senior year. But a lot of those guys go under the radar, and kind of establishing that pipeline, getting guys like Keith Smith and Taylor Starling on the team, that will open doors for other players such as Brandon Jones that are highly rated in the area to kind of hop on the UNT train.
Yeah, so right when all today's stuff happened, I hopped on the phone with JD, and he said he was in a glass case of emotion and losing Gums and also gaining our highest rated recruit, what it's likely to be once, the ratings come in.
Yeah.
So if you're talking to the North Texas fans, do you think they should feel good about today or not good about today?
Oh man, that is a double-edged sword if I've heard one. I think that everyone knew that the shifting from Seth Luttrell to Eric Morris, there were going to be adjustments. There were going to be immediate transfers. There were going to be transfers during the camps. And we've kind of seen that as the months have gone by. I would say, and I tend to be a little more on the optimistic side, I would say it's a good day for UNT fans. Yes, you lost your, a top 3 offensive threat on the team. That's not great. That will not help the team going forward. And just looking at the roster makeup, that will be an incredibly impactful loss. But the fact that the team is now able to kind of attract these guys from these programs that are on DFW, which is something that was a big complaint about the Luttrell era, that the team couldn't really attract these DFW guys. Morris has come in and really emphasized circling DFW and making sure him and his staff, either through the portal or through recruiting, bring in first-year players. They really want to make sure to bring those guys in, kind of keep them in North Texas. The North Texas region is the words he used at that press conference that we were both at. So I think that, yes, be sad about Var'Keyes. That's a big loss. But at the same time, be excited for the future because, I don't, in my opinion, I'll probably put out an early predictions thing, but here's a little spoiler. I don't think UNT was going to win over 5 games next season anyway. It's always going to be a rebuilding year for UNT. And I think that these guys leaving, kind of reflects that and emphasizes how much of a rebuilding year it will be.
All right, man. Well, hey, Reed, once again, I appreciate your time and your opinion on the matter. And, we'll see what happens, but take care. And I hope you make it to Vegas. I hope you make it to Vegas for the final if UNT apps, if they end up making it.
I appreciate it, man. And thank you for having me on. And I guess you'll see me in Vegas, maybe.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah, you too.